In theory, Jerry Seinfeld 23 Hours to Kill is a $100 million Netflix comedy special.
Being a former movie critic turned stand-up comedian, I figured why not go ahead and review some stand-up comedy specials? It's not like anybody else here is qualified.
Okay, so this is actually the second stand-up comedy special by Jerry Seinfeld to be exclusive for Netflix, and that is if you count 2017's Jerry Before Seinfeld, which was maybe half autobiographical documentary. Jerry's show Seinfeld is one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show overall. The weird thing to think about here is that the star of the show is a stand-up comedian, and over time it was realized that the stand-up was getting in the way of the show, and therefore it was cut. Yeah, the show used to start out with Jerry doing stand-up comedy, and then they got rid of that because it wasn't as good as the rest of the show. So now we're going to fork over millions of dollars to get that back. So our special starts off with a helicopter stunt. Jerry jumps out of a perfectly fine operable helicopter into the water to make a grand entrance, kind of fudge it, we get the idea. And of course this is in New York City, but we never get an understanding of how sizable that crowd is, and I'm not certain when this was shot, but it had to be before total lockdown. Now, some of you will scoff at a TV PG rated stand-up comedy special. What's the big deal? It's not offensive, and that's very difficult to pull off. Even more so if you look carefully at the nuances of Jerry's delivery. This is something that takes decades to hone. So you may not be getting the freshest, most provocative material, but it's told in a way that will make it funny to some people. Frankly, I wasn't really vibing too well with the first half of the special, but the second half was pretty strong as Jerry started to relate to, well, not so much the being rich part, but what it's like being married. It's like being on a game show. Okay, you go to a hotel to argue with people. Do you call that a vacation? Right, okay. Maybe you don't like the highly rehearsed nature of Jerry's act. To me, it comes across as very professional. Maybe we just don't have a lot of people doing this old school 80s style stand-up these days. You used to people schlubbing it around, telling some story, and padding that out to the tune of an hour. Some of you may find Seinfeld's delivery dated, but I think it's timeless and iconic. Because keep in mind, what you like today may very well age poorly in the decades to come. So if you want to see where Netflix is putting its money, check out Jerry Seinfeld 23 Hours to Kill.
So we're at the part of the video where I have to beg you to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, because subscribe doesn't really account to anything other than YouTube might someday send me a plaque.